participants, I am Shutapa Bose. I teach at the School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University. I welcome you to this program titled ICT for Professional Development. In this program, we shall discuss briefly the need for professional development. After that, we shall deliberate upon the use of ICT for professional development. And as we all know, ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. The first question is, why is professional development so important? Why is it necessary? Well, we are in the 21st century, and 21st century is the knowledge age. We have to keep on learning, and until and unless we keep on learning, we will soon find that whatever we had learned earlier has become outdated, and we would not remain fit for the knowledge age. Therefore, there is an ongoing pursuit of knowledge, of skills, and we need to be self-motivated, and we can look for courses offered by different institutions for lifelong learning, or maybe our organization takes an initiative. If we are affiliated to an institution, the institution may also take an initiative for organizing lifelong learning courses for its employees. And in this case, such requirements are fulfilled for fulfilling the workplace requirements. For example, I will give you the example of IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open University. This university continuously organizes in-service education programs, in-service training programs for those who are already in service. Why? The answer remains the same. That is because we are in the knowledge age, and there is a continuous need for updating learning. And we also know that knowledge is dynamic. I have already said that what we had learned earlier may not be relevant today. Even if it is relevant today, maybe some more new developments have come up, and we need to keep ourselves abreast of that. For example, the knowledge of agricultural practices has changed, it has evolved. There are new agricultural practices. Learner-centered method is more important because it facilitates learning, and the learner has to be active while learning. The learner has to maybe carry out an experiment, maybe engage in a project, maybe engage in debates, discussions, and activity would help in learning by doing. Therefore, we find that pedagogy is also evolving. And then coming to the use of technology. Well, blackboard is also a technology. You may say a very basic type of technology. And then we used to use in our classrooms slides, projectors. From these technologies, we have moved forward to the use of smart boards, discussion forums, learning management systems, and such advanced technologies. Until and unless the teacher who has learned how to use the blackboard, maybe during her teacher training, until and unless she learns to use these technologies, she wouldn't be able to keep pace with the changing times. Therefore, for a teacher, the knowledge of discipline, knowledge of pedagogy, use of technology, all these aspects, all these knowledge domains are evolving, and she has to continue to learn. For example, we now have new knowledge of life science about this corona pandemic, COVID pandemic, about a new virus, a new strain of virus. And then there are researches going on about its nuclear structure, how it is mutating, what are the mutant forms, what vaccines could be effective. All these things are quite new. Therefore, what the medical practitioners had learnt earlier, in addition to that, these things they need to learn. And as I said that there are new ways of teaching, we are teaching online, and earlier when we taught online, the learner used to learn alone. But then we say that no, learning being a social process, we learn better when we learn as a team, when we learn with our friends, with our peers. Therefore, we need to teach online as well as make it a collaborative learning process. This is a new way of teaching. This is a new way of viewing how teaching should take place. And then there are new technologies, as I have said, which are more capable of representing the content and for supporting the pedagogy. For example, you want your learners to learn something as a team, a concept as a team. You might use a wiki, you might use a discussion forum, you might use a blog. All these technologies would help your learners learn in a collaborative way. So, this now makes clear that why professional development should be continuous and why it is so essential in the 21st century. Now, coming to the means of professional development, this is how blended learning used to be practiced. But of course, now with the onset of the pandemic, in the aftermath of the pandemic and the lockdown, the face-to-face teaching and learning has become almost impossible. Assembling learners and then teaching them within a confined space, a classroom, is no longer advisable. Therefore, as I have just said, that the face-to-face component is being made an online instructional component. Learners still work as team, learners still are carrying out projects, learners are still discussing, but the teaching and learning happens to be online. And apart from these modes, we also have the fully online mode. For example, projects that are the outcomes of collaboration between institutions and international bodies may be fully online. Text is used, but in the digital form. Audio and video programs could also be used, and there are also discussion forums so that learning remains an interactive process and learners interact with each other, with their peers and also with the teacher. So, these are different means, or I would rather say modes of professional development. Broadcast mode has also been a very useful mode and is still a very useful mode for imparting professional development. Technology mediated professional development has been using broadcast. Many programs in India have been offered mainly by using the print material and along with that radio broadcasts. And the best point is that radio has almost 100% penetration. Even in developing countries, the penetration happens to be quite high. Access to radio is much more, relatively much more. Therefore, we see that when we say what is the ICT, the definition of ICT, if you go through the definition of ICT, you will find that it is a generic term. It is quite comprehensive and it includes a variety of tools, technologies, processes. And hence, there is no reason why we should exclude the use of broadcast from the definition of ICT. And this is the reason why I say that broadcast has played an important role in professional development. Even now in India, or I would say that it is a recent development, Swayamprabha channel is there. Swayamprabha is offering television programs, video programs to learners across India. Before that, the University Grants Commission of India and IGNOU were also broadcasting programs, and many of these programs are for teachers, for lawyers, for those practicing agriculture and different professions. Therefore, you see that broadcast definitely has an important role, a crucial role in professional development. NCRT of India, the National Council of Education Research and Training, has come up with many videos, and these videos Some of these videos are for teaching even classical music. UGC programs, as I have said, helped significantly in professional development, and you can have a series of radio programs for teaching a particular theme. Podcasts could be used, audio podcasts, and these are recorded lectures which are released as episodes. During various episodes, experts who have expert knowledge in a particular field, they could be delivering lectures, there could be talks. Films have also been used for professional development. For example, someone who is learning how to develop a video. When we learned how to develop a video at IGNOU, one of the first and foremost activities was watching excerpts of good films and watching good documentaries. Apart from that, there are films with messages, social messages, strong social messages. Then there are TV serials, TV programs which are broadcast for bringing to us the wildlife, the natural wonders, environmental issues, and explaining natural phenomena, history, geography, and so on. Hence, we see that broadcast has a very important role in professional development. Broadcast can also be interactive. For example, IGNOU's interactive radio counseling programs. These programs broadcast, I'll give you one example. During the first lockdown in India in the year 2020, IGNOU had broadcast a series of programs and for generating awareness about the COVID pandemic, how to stay safe, how to avoid stress during the lockdown, what to do if someone is struck by the disease, and things like that. And these were interactive programs. Even those in the medical profession or those in the nursing profession, paramedics and many others, these programs help them for their professional development. Psychologists who are practicing, they were benefited because of the programs that told people how to manage stress. The laymen as well as those seeking professional development, both the categories of people benefited from such programs. And live television programs are also there. You must have also watched on your television, and there are live sessions for health issues, legal issues, women's rights, children's rights, and so on. The audience can ask questions to the experts who explain things, and this is how interactive broadcast is also one of the means for bringing about professional development. Now coming to the non-broadcast mode. There are CDs. IGNOU has developed many CDs for teacher education. Therefore, teachers seeking professional development could benefit from these CDs. There are DVDs. Similarly, for other professions also, there are many CDs and DVDs that have been developed. And lab based activities, if someone is unable to go to the lab but is seeking lab based experiences, then there are CDs for it which provide in a simulated way the laboratory experience. And then there are also CDs and for drill, practicing again and again, for example for teaching math or for teaching pronunciation, teaching communication, and teaching skills of language. Through this opportunity of repeated practice, there is learning, and it is not only for students but even those who are teachers, they can also use these CDs and further their professional development by learning new skills, by having access to new knowledge. Therefore, these are the examples of non-broadcast mode. There are music CDs, of course, which could help professionals who are in the field of music, and then CDs for learning dance, and CDs with lectures on a wide range of topics. Now coming to ICT mediated professional development, we have covered the broadcast and the non-broadcast mode. Let us now discuss the ICT mediated professional development. The pedagogic benefits are that we can use different types of teaching methods, unlike in the broadcast and non-broadcast mode. Just as I have said that if our teaching learning is on an online activity, there could be online collaborative activities, there could be interactions, there could be group projects, and hence we could use a number of pedagogies which are considered to be more contemporary. You could also demonstrate something to your learners, maybe an experiment, and you can also widen the access to resources. If you have resources and if you are sharing it online, many learners, all the participants of your program would be able to benefit. And ICT also helps us to access not only good resources and repositories like libraries having good books and digital resources, but also experts. We can access those who have expertise in a field, and we can even work with them. And ICT allows a learner centered approach. That is because in a professional development wherein the teacher delivers a lecture and the student only learns, the student is not so active. But when I am using ICT for learning, I can interact with my peers, I can interact with my teachers. This makes learning a learner centered approach. And as I said, ICT supports collaborative learning, interactive learning, even simulated learning. For example, how to fly an aeroplane, or how to carry out an experiment in the lab, how to drive a car. And there are many such activities for which we can have simulated learning experiences required for our professional development when we use ICT. There are also educational games and indoor games, for example chess. Someone who wants to take up chess as a profession could play chess with the computer and learn the tricks. And then there are games for learning foreign languages, literature, and for science. You can also learn science, for example biological processes like photosynthesis, respiration, and then simulation games. As I said, how to fly an aeroplane. Virtual experiences are also possible when we use ICT for professional development. For example, if I want to build a career in the field of museum, I want to work in the museum, then I could also have some experience, virtual experience of different areas of a museum, how things are kept, where I could find what, and many other such things using a virtual museum. Theme parks are also there, and I could get virtual experience of these if I plan to have a profession in any of these areas. And then online libraries are definitely important for professional development. Digital libraries with journals, e-books, even IGNOU has a very good online library with all these facilities, and an online library is essential for professional development. We can also use ICT for research and for peer reviewing of manuscripts submitted by authors. And you see that we can use ICT for literature review using an online library, and then you can use it for data collection. You can circulate, or you can just share your data collection form with your respondents using a Google form, survey forms. You can interview them online, your respondents you can interview online, and then there are various journal platforms. So when you are carrying out peer reviewing, we can use the journal platform to access the manuscript, to submit the manuscript, and even to provide the comments, and all these activities help in professional development. And of course, Moocs are now playing a massive role in professional development. Moocs, massive open online courses, and a MOOC is an online course and the enrollment happens to be massive. It is capable of accommodating massive enrollment. These are usually short duration courses. Few objectives are there. People take up these courses enroll in these courses not to learn too many things, but maybe to learn just one or two things. And then, since the objectives are few, the concepts that are taken up in a MOOC also happens to be few in number. These are usually free, but for certification one may have to pay some money, and it usually has a 4-quadrant approach. There would be one component of text as well as links to digitized material, and then one for the video element. Usually short duration videos are there. One is for assessment, maybe quizzes could be there, and one is for discussion, so that learners can interact with their peers and learners can also interact with the instructor or the teacher. Apart from MOOCs, blogs also are very helpful. A blog is actually the short form of a web blog. It is created for discussion, or you may say that sharing information or views, and it is shared by one individual or a group on a particular topic. And there are several posts. These posts are our views, our comments, our observations on what we read, and these are our responses. Maybe you could raise a question. If you have a blog, you could raise a question, or you could begin a discussion, and others, like-minded people or those sharing similar interest, would join. And the posts are displayed in a reverse chronological order. For example, there are travel blogs, and then blogs for photography and for social issues also. So blogs are also becoming an important means of professional development. And apart from that, webinars are there. So a seminar which is held using the World Wide Web is a webinar. Virtual workshops, earlier workshops used to be a face-to-face activity, but now it is a virtual activity, and webinars could be on, for example, how to implement educational policy. There could be debates, discussions, and question answers, talks, things like that, and then online workshops. For example, you may want to teach your learners how to edit a video, or how to write a script, or how to write self-learning material, or how to integrate ICT in teaching learning processes, and for that you may hold an online workshop wherein your learners would be there, your resource persons would be there, and then you could teach how to do these activities, and your learners would also be carrying out these activities, hands-on activities they would be carrying out. And these are just some of the examples. It could be for instructional designing, script writing, developing storyboard, teaching students with social needs. So many topics are there. The list of topics is somewhat very long, and nowadays webinars and virtual workshops are very important for professional development. We have seen that there are several means of professional development, and before that we have discussed that need for professional development, and we have also said that ICT is helping us with our professional development. Hence we must explore different technologies that are providing us access to professional development. Thank you.